I don't think I'm good enough live to make this fold, man. The heart says fold, but the mind says call, you know what I mean?
Fucking check one time. Hiya!
In this video, we play 2-5 cash at Resorts World. As you can tell from the title, we end up 6-bet bluffing for over $1,800 pre-flop. Stay tuned to see if it works and how we end up finishing the night. Let's go! In the first hand of the night, we have pocket kings under the gun and we raise to $20. The button and the big blind both make the call. The flop comes Jack 6-3, 2 diamonds. The big blind checks, we check, and the button bets $35. The big blind makes a call, and we could call here, but with the extra dead money in the pot, and us likely having the best hand, I think a check raise is in order. We raise to 140, and both the button and the big blind make the call. The turn is the deuce of diamonds. With the big blind calling our check raise as well, we have to be a little bit careful, so we're going to pot control and check when the big blind checks to us. Obviously, having the king of diamonds is nice as well if the river comes a diamond. The button checks back. The river is the 8 of clubs. The big blind checks to us again, and at this point, I think we have the best hand. We bet $300 into about $500. We are basically just targeting a jack here. The button calls and the big blind folds. To our somewhat surprise, the button actually has pocket sixes for flopped set. I was certainly playing careful multi-way, and apparently so was our opponent who pot controlled by checking the turn back with the set. Besides, they can't really raise the river with an opponent behind and not having a diamond. We definitely value owned ourselves there, but sometimes that happens. In the next interesting hand, we have pocket kings again versus the same opponent as last time. This opponent is a younger Polish pro. This information becomes quite relevant for our bluff that is coming up that is in the title, so stay tuned. With that said, in this hand, the low jack raises to $20 and we 3-bet to $65 on the button. Our opponent makes a call. The flop comes 6-3 deuce rainbow. When it checks to us, we decide to bet $50. Our opponent actually check raises us to $150. For value, our opponent is saying that they have a set. Now, while we are a bit traumatized from our opponent having pocket sixes for a set in the last hand, we can't really give them too much credit for a set here. I really would not expect them to open pocket deuces or pocket threes in the low jack. They would open pocket sixes, but that's really the only hand that we are beat by here. For this reason, we make the call. The turn is the 7 of clubs. This doesn't really change anything, and this time our opponent checks. I don't really see a huge reason to bet here, so we go ahead and pot control and check back. The river is a 3 of diamonds. This time our opponent bets $425 into about $440. Maybe I'm a nit, but I really am not loving this. This is annoying. You have sixes again?
After contemplating, it's really pocket sixes or nothing, and I would really expect our opponent to bet the turn for value still, so we make the call.
It's high.
It's high?
We are quite happy to not get burned with pocket kings here again. The next hand is the one you have all been waiting for, the reason you clicked on this video. To start things off, we raise under the gun to $20 with ace-5 spades. The same opponent from the last 2 hands 3-bets us on the button to $80. Now we certainly could just call here, but if you know anything about GTO and 4-bet bluffs, ace-5 suited is the best hand to do it with. We are going for it. We put in the 4-bet for $320. We block aces, we can make a wheel, we can make a flush. If we get called, there's still a lot of playability post-flop. No need to worry about that though, as our opponent 5-bets us to $700. We are about $1,800 effective here, so obviously very deep. I don't think our opponent should really be 5-betting here too often, but it's obvious they either have pocket kings or pocket aces. Now at this point, there's 2 options. Option A, where we recognize defeat and just fold our ace-5 suited. What are we trying to do? We can't get him to fold kings, right? And then there's option B.
If you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you.
We dig deep, channel our inner Goggins, decide that we are not going to lose his hand, and 6-bet all in as a bluff for $1,800.
1837.
This is one of the biggest bluffs I have ever attempted, and certainly the biggest pre-flop bluff. We can breathe a bit of relief as our opponent does not snap call and goes deep deep into the tank.
I don't think I'm good enough live to make this fold, man. The heart says fold, but the mind says call, you know what I mean?
Please fold. Please just fold.
This is almost every time you get aces here. Every fucking time. It's so sick. Because obviously you know what I have.
Yes, that's right. I should have aces here every single time. I know you have kings. Just fold your kings.
The good thing is if I call and I lose, I'm still up. So that's a good thing.
No, what kind of attitude is that?
One more minute. I apologize, guys.
No worries. Take as much time as you need if that means you're going to fold.
I'm going to fold.
Yes! After almost literally 10 minutes, our opponent folds. You want me to show?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it's about okay.
We scoop about $700 without even seeing a flop. Everything really came together in this hand. We raised from under the gun, which is obviously the tightest position to raise from. We had ace-5 suited, which is the best hand to 4-bet bluff with, and sometimes 6-bet bluff with. And lastly, we were playing against a very solid player who was capable of having a bluff himself and making a fold like this. I can really not fault our opponent for folding what was most likely kings here. This is live cash. No one is 6-betting in live cash with anything but aces. Do not try this one at home. In the next hand, we are still buzzing from that bluff when we pick up pocket 10s in the cutoff. There is a button straddle on for $10 and the under the gun player opens for $20. The hijack 3-bets to $65. Normally, I would say a min raise is not very strong from the under the gun player, but I don't think they knew that the straddle is on, so I'm just going to treat it as a normal raise and then a 3-bet. I honestly did not know if we should 4-bet here with pocket 10s, so we just decided to make the call. The original raiser also makes a call. We are happy to be 3 ways as the flop comes 10-8 deuce. We flop top set. It checks to the hijack who 3-bet pre, and he bets $80 into about 200. With flush and straight draws on board, I could certainly get behind raising, but in this instance, I just decided to call. The under the gun player folds, and the turn comes the 5 of clubs. This is a great card as it changes nothing. This time, our opponent in the hijack bets $300 into about 370. Once again, we are in a situation where we could raise or call. Our opponent has about $600 left behind. If our opponent does have a bluff, it is going to be one with a lot of equity as they are betting pot on the turn. Also, if they have value like an overpair, then they are very unlikely to fold. At the time, I decided to just call, but in reality, it's better to just jam here. The river is the 7 of diamonds. Our opponent goes all in for about $600 into almost $1,000. As planned, we make the call rather quickly and our opponent shows Jack 9 of spades. They flopped the open-ended straight draw and barreled the turn and got there on the river. I think this one was a well-played hand by them. They unblocked the hearts, so they could have definitely jammed the river if there was a non-heart. We should have probably 4-bet pre to avoid this situation altogether, but as played, this one was mostly a cooler. It does sting to lose our 6-bet bluff money so quickly. In the next hand, we have ace-king off and the cutoff raises to $20. We 3-bet on the button to $65 and they make the call. The flop comes ace-10-4, 2 spades. With the flush draw on board, we are going to size up here, so we bet $75 when it's checked to us. Our opponent makes the call. The turn is the jack of diamonds. King-queen gets there, but that is obviously quite unlikely as we have a king in our hand. I'm not sure if it was losing with top set in the last hand, but for whatever reason, we decided to check here. The river is the deuce of spades. There's almost $300 in the pot and our opponent bets $225.
Oh, I think I let you get there.
As played, we are not going to fold top, so we make the call. Our opponent shows 6-5 of spades for the rivered flush. Not betting the turn here was definitely a mistake and one that cost us big time. Next up, we have ace-queen off in early position and we raise to $20. The small blind 3-bets us to $100 and we make the call. The flop comes king, jack, 10. We flop the absolute nuts. Our opponent checks out of position and we bet $120. They make the call. The turn is the 9 of diamonds. This brings in a 4-liner to the straight and also brings in a flush draw. I don't see the point in really betting small here, as if our opponent has a set, they will certainly call, and if they have something like pocket queens, then we get to cooler them. We bet roughly the pot, $350. Unfortunately, our opponent makes the fold. Really not a great turn for us to continue getting value.
In the last hand of the night, we pick up with the hijack raising to $20 and us 3-betting to $65 on the cutoff. The small blind actually cold calls and the hijack also calls. The flop comes 9-8-3. It checks to us, and with the small blind cold calling, they're going to have a lot of pairs here like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, maybe even jacks, so no reason to bet here, we're just going to check. The turn is a jack of clubs. Once again, it checks around to us. At this point, I don't think we're going to win with ace high at showdown, so we are going to start bluffing. We can have some jack X, we can have overpairs still, and we can have queen 10 as we have a queen. We bet half pot, $100. Just the hijack makes the call. The river comes at 8 of hearts. There's about $400 in the pot, and to our surprise, our opponent actually leads for $250.
Yeah.
What is this? What does this mean?
What is it? What is it?
What does this mean?
That is.
While I certainly had some ideas in my head of turning this hand into a bluff, we make the fold.
You get one.
Down.
For the ball, right? You have a jack beat?
You had a jack? No. No, I didn't have a jack beat.
Premium is the way I got premium too.
Shout out to Sun Yo for leaving "Aya" as a comment on one of my videos. If you've made it this far, be sure to leave a comment as well while we listen to Sun Yo's rant on YouTube Premium.
No. I know you get 10 times 10 the fucking engagement for premium, homie. I know. I know. I saved that shit for you. I was like thinking, oh man, if I beat this guy in the hand, he's working so hard, I'm gonna let him know at the end of the night, after all them subscribe, they're weak ass fucking regular. And I'm gonna be like, yo, I got premium. My membership is worth 20 of these motherfuckers. Can I get a discount?
No discount.
Hey, bro, I'm a fucking subscriber, bro.
Hey.
I am a fucking premium subscriber. You saved $200. More like $350 on. If I just fucking check one time. Hey, yo, I would have been like only $1,000 down.
This is the greatest rant ever.
I know.
As the night ends, the game becomes bad and it is time to cash out.
Here in my garage, the orange Lamborghini, no big deal.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. Knowledge.
We were in for 2K total, cashed out for $1,100, so that's about an $800 loss for the night. Overall, it was actually a pretty tough game. At least 1 or 2 pros in the game, but it was actually a pretty fun game, so that's kind of why I stayed. The highlight of the night, obviously, is our 6-bet all in for $1,800 pre-flop and getting the guy to fold pocket kings. That was pretty sick. And then that pocket 10s hand was pretty unfortunate. Flop top set, just called the turn, called the flop, called the turn. Was hoping he was going to hang himself on the river, which he was going to, but he hit the straight. So that was for a huge pot as well. Unfortunately, we could not win that one. And then from there, it kind of just went downhill. Won some hands, but overall lost, so it wasn't that great. Let me know what you thought of that 6-bet. It's pretty sick. If I'm playing with you in Vegas and you see me at your table, don't think I'm going to do that again. I'm not that insane. It was the right time, right opponent, and right hand. Ace-5 suited is probably the best hand to do it with. So it was pretty sick, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go get my Lamborghini. Let's go.